call the June Vermilion County Council meeting to order. So please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll start with roll call. Mr. Reynolds.
Present.
Mr. Weir.
Here.
Mr. Somerville.
Here.
Mr. Bush.
Here.
Mrs. James, I'm present.
Here.
Mr. Drew. Mr. Brown.
Here.
All right, thanks, gentlemen. All right, our first item is approval of the meeting minutes from May 9th. Does anyone have any comments or changes that need to be made?
Make a motion to accept the minutes on June 13th, or not June 13th, but May 9th.
May 9th, yep.
Second.
Okay. I have a motion to accept the meeting minutes from May 9th, 2022 from Mr. Weir, a second from Mr. Somerville. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed state no. Minutes are approved. Next, we have our treasurer's report. Are there any questions regarding the report? Any questions or comments? All right. Moving along, we have our comp time quarterly report. We did make this quarterly instead of monthly now. Any questions or comments regarding the comp time?
Just as I guess, information for me to better understand how this works, is there any guidance or as far as how much an employee can accumulate?
The state has a maximum amount, and the commissioners had been under that amount, and several years ago they had increased it to the state max. So there is a maximum amount they can accumulate. Anything else? Okay. We have several transfers. We have some reporting only. Does anyone have questions on any of the reporting onlys? We have one that is going to require a vote for a transfer. The Highway Department is asking to move $44,700 from their federal bridge project to the material for bridge repair. It's to cover the cost of culvert installation. Melissa's here if anyone has questions.
Where's that bridge at? Where's that at, Melissa? This culvert?
The culvert was down in First District.
Pardon?
It was in First District.
It says County Road 75 West. Is that right?
Yeah. The next page has a...
It's a 10-year, right in front of Trent, 10-year opens in that area.
Have they given us more options on how to spend that ARP money?
Not yet.
Still the same?
This one
I
is
know
in...
this ain't that, but,
Yeah, it's in the Cume Bridge Fund is where these transfers are happening in.
but I'm just wondering why it's not used for that. I thought we was going to.
The federal bridge project won't take place this year, correct?
We have one that's ongoing now, but it really won't begin to full force until next year.
Okay.
And the other bridge, we was just accepted
So yeah, I knew there was a long waiting list once we got on it, so. Do you know if they've gotten their report back with all the culverts and the mapping of that yet? Okay, because I know we were kind of waiting on that report with the ARP money to see what kind of conditions all the culverts were in. So they were hoping to have that back.
This study.
Yeah. I don't believe it was Thrive, but it was the one where they were mapping out the culverts and I think like all the other, we would know where the bridges are all at, but there were a couple other things in that report too. They were having, because right, because the bridges have to be done, but this one had the culverts in it too. So, okay, and it made, I haven't heard about it coming back yet, but I know the ARP money was waiting to see what that report said.
And I don't think at the last commissioners meeting he said he had that yet.
Okay, so must be still waiting.
Is this one of the two that was closed?
Yes.
It is?
It's right to the Milburn house, in that area. 75 west of this.
It's one of,
There's another one just down around the corner. It's closed. It's got a hole in the road.
Okay. This transfer will require a motion and a second to send it to a vote to approve it.
I'll make a motion.
Second that.
I have a motion from Mr. Somerville, a second from Mr. Dreer to approve the transfer of funds for the Highway Department and the Cume Bridge. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. Transfer is approved. Thanks, Melissa. Alright. Next, we have additional appropriations. If you will pull your public defender boards first. Okay. The first additional appropriation for the Public Defender Office is for $7,296. It is to make up the $43,000 that Vermilion County has to provide for the new Public Defender Office. This is the program we talked about during budget hearing last year, where we are partnering with Fountain and Park County in order to hire more full-time public defenders. Everyone's struggling to keep them right now. And this is based on caseload, correct? We're at 43% of the caseload.
That's correct, yeah.
So we're, being that to make up the 43,000, I'm assuming it's $100,000 like total.
That's correct.
Okay.
I think Fountain Park have paid their percent.
Okay, they've already contributed theirs. Okay.
Need a motion.
Yes, I do.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay. I have a motion for Mr. Brown, a second for Mr. Weir, to approve the additional appropriation of $7,296 for the Public Defender Office. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. The appropriation is approved.
So when we go on, can I introduce my?
Yes. Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted,
Yeah.
which order you wanted.
Slagle. Board has hired Mr. Slagle to be the chief public defender, so he'll be starting in July, that's fine.
Thank you.
Just introduce.
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, they do have one additional appropriation tonight for the Public Defender Office, is for $15,000 to their non-contractual budget line. It's for their non-contractual attorneys. Is this for the rest of the year then, to get through the year? Okay.
We will still be paying claims for Vermillion County through our funds, even though we're starting this new office. That probably won't end until the end of the year. I'm assuming that there will still be bills coming in that were approved during the time that we were in the county office, not over in the regional office.
Okay.
So those are for, a lot of appeals, and then carryover probably from, we didn't have a contract filled, and we have to use private attorneys, so it's their bill.
So that is an estimate of what we think we'll need for the rest of the year, and then we have over the
Okay.
I believe Nancy told me that they had done, we did an additional appropriation last year for non-contractual attorneys, but the bill did not come in until this year.
Okay.
So it hit this year's budget extra hard. And so this is partly to make up for that.
Okay.
Essentially, from last year. Take a motion to allow the 15,000 public defender board.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Oh, I got a second.
Oh,
It was a cool.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Third.
There's still the air running, so. All right, I have a motion for Mr. Dreer, a second for Mr. Bush, for the additional appropriation of $15,000 for the non-contractual attorneys of the Public Defender Office. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. The additional is approved. And the Public Defender Board is also here this evening. The amended salary schedule you received. In order to hire their chief public defender and their paralegal, we would have to amend our salaries ordinance to accommodate these two positions from their budget.
Question. So is this something that all three counties will be signing, or just us only, or?
It's just us because the position is based here in Vermillion County. Everyone's pooling their money, but the position is based out of Vermillion, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And we are reimbursed by the state.
Yes.
And you only have to pay 43%.
Right.
Is there enough, you think, in the budget then currently to handle the salaries as well?
There should be, as with everyone's, because they've already received part, and.
Okay.
I understand they've already received parts of the
We have to do it, we have not appropriated all that money though.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to actually, the only thing that's
Transfer.
we transferred some appropriations tonight, that's our part.
Right.
We've not appropriated.
Fountain
We've
and
got
Parks.
cash, but we haven't, you guys haven't said, yes, you can spend that cash.
Well, that's a good start. We at least have the cash.
So,
We can.
yes, that's always a good starting spot, so we will have to come back. I've talked to, Mike and, Nancy, and we need to get a 6-month kind of budget for the next 6 months. But he's also, unfortunately, got to start before he's even hired, or started to work. Budgets for 2023 are gonna be coming in here pretty soon. And the Public Defenders Board has never had much of a budget because they've never had
Right.
employees, they never had an office, they never had copiers. So somebody's got to try and figure out what that's going to cost. And so
And-
I don't, I don't know that 100,000 will be enough personally.
The chief public defender also has to be paid a percentage of what the prosecutor is paid. Is that correct? Okay.
I think the judge might be able to eliminate more than I can, but yeah, they don't let you pay one side a
Right.
lot, and the other side not very much. It's kind of obvious, the disparity there, so, that salary set a percentage of what the prosecutor is, full-time prosecutor. But they can get into this year and see, if we do have to do an additional appropriation of some kind and give you more money, the other counties have to contribute to that as well.
Okay.
So ideally, we just need to figure out make this appropriation for a 6-month.
Yeah, we need to do like a 6-month budget kind of thing, because they, and Mike was showing me this evening when I came upstairs, they kind of just, he actually has kind of a year budget, and so he was trying to work off of something like that, but it's, like I said, nobody really knows what some of these things are going to cost, and there's also a question about, are they going to have a physical location, is that physical location going to be,
Okay. So this is adding these 2 salary positions onto the ordinance. It's not an additional amount for this, it's just adding them to the ordinance.
we will have to
So-
do, like I said, you guys transfer a total of 43,000, so there's 43,000 of appropriations there, which will get through a few months, but we do need to appropriate that money we received from Park and Fountain counties eventually. Almost all that's gonna go to salary and benefits, and I think we're gonna need that, to be honest with you. Depends on if they hire somebody, when that person starts, and, if they take the full benefits or they don't take all the benefits and whatnot.
Okay.
Work in progress.
Yeah, kind of, it's kind of like building it as we're living in it.
Mhm.
So, it's under construction while we're, yeah.
So do we need to do this time?
They would like to, that way he can start. We can do it 2 ways. You can make the motion for each position, or you can do them together.
Just do them together.
Well, I'm trying to make a motion
Make motion?
for both.
I'll second.
Okay.
That's done together, correct?
Correct, we're doing them together. All right, I have a motion for Mr. Bush, a second for Mr. Weir, to approve the amended salary schedule for the Chief Public Defender and the paralegal. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. All right, the salary ordinance has been amended. Thank you for attending this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No problem, thank you.
So, annualized for this.
Okay, our next additional appropriation this evening is for the jail. It is for $3,702.53. It's for an extradition of an inmate from California. They are asking for it to be taken from the extradition fund. Could we have left him there?
No, I tried.
Oh, California didn't want to keep him a little longer?
Mexico didn't want him, so California got him, California wanted him skipped out, Drew said he'd get it.
Well, welcome home.
Said there's money in the,
It's, yeah, the balance is at the bottom, 17,000. Alright. I have a motion for Mr. Brown, a second for Mr. Dreer, to approve $3,702.53 from the extradition fund. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. Alright, appropriation is approved. Well, I'm glad he made it back for the heat. I hate for anybody to miss this. All right, our next additional appropriation tonight is for the Highway Department. It is for $3,843.38 for truck repair. The county pickup truck hit a deer last fall, and so the insurance paid out. They're just now being able to get the work done. And so we've gotten the check from the insurance company, so we need to approve it back into their budget so they can send it.
Motion.
Okay, I got a motion. All right, I have a motion for Mr. Bush, second for Mr. Somerville, for the truck repair of $3,843.38. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. All right, the additional is approved. That's it for the highway. All right, our next additional appropriation is for E911. They're asking for $26,000 to purchase the high band radios for the Vermilion County Sheriff's Office. And they're asking it to come from their 911 fund.
How much is in that now? Anybody know?
Mm,
In the fund, did you ask?
yeah, 2.1 million.
Oh, okay.
It's in the next.
Two more
page.
than you got in your pocket.
It's on. They have.
It's on the next.
They have
It's on
3
there.
additionals, so it's on the other ones.
It's on the back one.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. We do these all together or just
We're gonna do them separate.
separate?
Yep.
I'll make a motion for the water department.
Okay. I have a motion. Do I have a second? All
You're
right.
gonna get your hand up quick.
I'm afraid to second anything now.
I have a motion for Mr. Brown, a second for Mr. Somerville to approve the $26,000 for the radio upkeep from 911. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed state no. All right, the additional is approved. All right, 911 has another additional appropriation for $20,000 for training and conferences. It's for the 911 dispatchers. This, again, is also coming out of their 911 fund.
Let Bill make that motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve this. Thank you.
You guys are quite the gentleman tonight. All right, I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion for Mr. Reynolds, a second for Mr. Dreer to approve $20,000 for training and conferences for E911. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed state no. All right, the appropriation is approved. All right, and the last additional appropriation this evening for 911, they're wanting to hire 2 full-time dispatchers to help become the emergency medical dispatch compliant for the state. They're asking for an additional appropriation of $88,972.50. This would be for dispatchers number 4 and 5. Would this alleviate our overtime problem?
Not as of yet, no.
If we hire them, though, it would, or not?
It would not. We would need to hire an additional 2 more after that in order to be able to do that, which has been already written into the 2023 budget. We wanted to hire 2 this year.
Okay.
Get
So,
them trained.
but it would help alleviate some of the...
Yes.
Okay. Because if you remember in the past, they work different schedules from the sheriff's department. So when they don't work 40, they get paid regular, but when they work over 40, then they have to be paid overtime, even though the 2 weeks combined would equal 80. It is a state mandate that it works that way. And so we have made additional appropriations in the past for that overtime.
This is just our salaries, this is not the benefit.
It's everything.
Benefits,
Who's got a full benefit?
second page.
Okay.
Continuing past this year, you plan to keep them in the 911 budget?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second that.
All right. All right, I have a motion for Mr. Weir, second for Mr. Reynolds, to approve the $88,972.50 for the 2 full-time dispatchers from the E911 fund. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
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 All those opposed state no. All right, your appropriation is approved. And to go along with that, we will have the amended salary ordinance. The amended salary ordinance will approve the 2 dispatcher positions, so we can add them so they can hire those 2 people. I will need a motion and a second to approve the motion. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Weir? Okay. I have a motion for Mr. Bush, a second for Mr. Weir, to amend the salary ordinance to include 2 additional dispatchers for the 911. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. All right. Salary ordinance has been amended. You are good to go, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Our last additional appropriation this evening is from the Parks Department. Last meeting, they approached us about this difference in their pay. They're asking for an additional $2,000 to bring the 3rd labor and maintenance position to the same amount as the prior two. The initial paper from the budget request had stated the difference, so you're asking to bring all 3 to the same position now. Is that correct?
Yeah, the one that's certified shares, and it was overlooked on our part, I think, evidently we filled it out, we didn't realize it. And then when we hired the 2 new employees this year due to the death of Jimmy, and then we had Mike quit, so we had to hire 2. One of them was regular, one of them was certified shares, and we didn't know there was a difference, so we hired everybody as the same. And there are 2 employees doing the same exact job, working the, the same and everything, but one of them's making $2,000 a year less than the other, and we practically think it's going further, they should be making the same amount.
Okay. Because I have a copy of like the budget requests and they were all lined up, but I guess it was just an error then on the budget request. Is that what? Okay. The 3rd labor and maintenance position was added several years ago. Once we had money in certified chairs, they asked for a lawnmower and someone to help cut grass. It's always been less than the other 2 positions. That was whatever they brought us to start with. So they're just asking to bring all 3 to the same now.
Will this retroactive when he was hired in, or?
Yes,
Pardon?
it will. Does anyone else have any other questions regarding the spot? Okay. These positions are paid hourly, correct? So if the additional is not approved, he will still be able to earn the whole $20,828 with that in the account. He just may have less hours, or I mean, he's going to get paid less per hour, but it would take a vote, and without a vote, unfortunately with it being on the budget sheet, we typically don't go back and readjust salaries in the middle of the year. Has it been corrected for the next year's budget?
Yeah, we will a little bit go down.
Okay.
And that's another thing we need to ask is, why do we have to keep this 4th employee on certified shares? Or can it just be included in the regular budget? We talked about this before.
The regular budget comes out of the general fund, which is generated from property tax. The certified shares is generated from the income tax. So unfortunately, it comes from 2 different funds in the end. Now, if they were both general fund, it would be easier to say, yes, you could put them all in together. But since it's different pots of money, that's why we've separated them. I mean, I don't know how, did you fill out the lines, or were they already on there?
They were already on there.
Okay.
It was one of the things, stop by and sign it, I stopped by and just signed page it, and I did look at it.
That would be one thing. I just wanted to make sure that you were able to get all your different accounts on one paper. But, yeah, right now we probably will leave it I would imagine different, just because it is a different pots of money.
And, well, we will lose that employee if he quits if he doesn't get a job.
Sorry. So he plans on quitting if we don't do the additional $2,000?
I'm sure, because he's doing the same job. He's like, why am I doing the same job and getting $2,000 less money?
Okay.
We hired him as a park board, when we hired them both sitting down together, we thought they was making the same and told them they were. And then they had to come out that he's making less.
Well,
So that's-
that third position though has never made the same amount. So did someone not realize that? Then whoever's.
No, we didn't realize that. We thought all along everything was the same. That's what I'm saying. That's where the mistakes come in. And I've been here for 10 years as president, and I didn't realize they weren't making the same money.
So who was in charge of advertising the position? Like who put the salary out, I guess, on the advertisement?
Well, Mary put the ad in the paper, but I mean, we put it on there that, then when they come, they said, what do we make? And we said, this is what you make a year.
Okay.
And that's just the way it was. I mean, that's how we hire, as they're making, and like I say, they're doing the same exact job. They ride in the backseat of the truck together, they get out, they mow together, they do whatever together. And then like two guys do, when they get paid the first time, one guy's like, how's come I didn't make as much as you?
I mean, I understand why they're questioning it, but unfortunately, they've always been different. And so that this is the first year it's been come up in question, I guess, of why they're different.
This is the first time we've hired two employees at the same time, like this. Always before, we had the three there, and then we hired the new guy to come in and be a part of it. And at that point in time, we didn't realize he wasn't making as much as the other two that had been there. I know Danny makes more because he's a superintendent, but, you know. But that's, I mean, that's just where we're at. I mean, not trying to pull anything. We thought it was the same, and that's how we hired them, and that's why, that's why it's ended up being a problem.
You could change, you hinted at this, you could amend your salary ordinance to make them all the same hourly rate and have one person just work fewer hours.
There is that option too.
That's where I thought you were gonna go with it. I think changing this in the middle of the year is the wrong thing to do, but that is an option. And it still may not satisfy the employee, as far as number of hours in the year, but at least he would make the same wage. Now, we can still keep it that way in the future, and then he could make a decision whether he wanted to stay or not, but. I think we'd be setting precedent, maybe, if we could change it, and then everybody would want to change it.
Mm-hmm. Our salary schedule doesn't say the rate, it just adds the 2,000.
Well, we need to change the other employees too to make them hourly.
Well, I think when they get paid, it does end up hourly.
Yes, but she takes that number and divides it by.
I see what you're saying.
So you'd have to,
Backwards to figure out the hourly.
we can go backwards and figure out their hourly rates and then make everyone just an hourly rate.
Change them all.
With no more than X number of hours a week or something, and then that way you're not increasing the pay
Okay.
of anyone.
So, without the additional appropriation, we have two options. We leave it as it is, he makes the same as he's making now per hour. Or we can change the hourly rate to what the others are making hourly, and then he will just work less hours for the total of the year.
How many hours is this based on?
Yeah,
how many weeks,
yeah, but
though?
they don't work all year round, because normally you
Right.
divide it by 20/80 or something, but I don't know what, is it 6 months a year that they?
Now, they start in April and end usually 1st of November. Now, last year we got told we was out of money a couple of weeks early, so they had to quit early, then we wasn't out of money, so.
So I don't know what Leanne Smith uses to calculate theirs. I assume she takes the number of weeks they work, but they don't work the same as a clerk in the clerk's office does or something, so.
Sometimes it's weather dependent too.
So we're only making $10-11 an hour? $11 an hour?
Mm,
6 months.
How many hours do you say they?
6 months, it's 6 months, right? They work 6 months.
April.
Well, only 1,000 hours.
$17 now, and then the other one.
140 hours a month.
So So he'd work like 60 hours less than the other guys. No, total.
Yeah, it'll come out to be a
It's
week.
17.
When the salary study was done, did their descriptions, were they different? Were they submitted different? Like different job duties?
Should have been.
Because when we got the salary study back, they were listed differently on the salary study. Just trying to see if I have a copy on here. Can't get it to load.
Kelly, I understand you saying that we shouldn't change in the middle of the stream, but have him to work less hours to get through this year. I go all that.
He may not.
It would still keep us within our budget number. I mean, but
Yeah.
he would at least make the same per hour. We'd probably have to bring the salary ordinance back again next month, once we figure out the hourly rate to set. What we probably do is set all three positions at the same hourly rate at one time. That way they were all, and then your budget would still be different. You still have that $2,000 difference in budget.
I'm sure Leanne can tell us.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm sure she has it.
In a heartbeat, what the hourly rate is.
Next month, so don't mess it up.
It's probably closer to 20 than it is, it's somewhere between 15 and 20.
It's a weird number, it's like 1778, or, you know, it's not a nice round, pretty number.
Yeah, I'm not finding it on here yet.
And I don't know, we'd have to figure out how to make his like retro or something. Retroactive back to when they first started working this year, and so he would get a little
He'd get like a catch-up.
catch-up check. But then he would be done, either he'd be done earlier than everyone else, or he'd, you know, get half day off a week, whatever they wanted to do.
Okay.
They've got that much in that line item to pay that employee, so.
Okay. Would you ask Leanne to figure that out, so we can have that for next month? Okay. We'll ask Leanne to figure out the hourly rate, and then amend that ordinance, to be brought to us next month to vote on the hourly rates on all three to be the same. And then your budget will just stay the same, he'll just have less hours for the year to work. So. Okay. It will require a vote next time, but we'll have it on the agenda for you. So.
Can we change it to next year when we get to that point?
Yeah, and that's what we mentioned, like on the budget sheets, they'll fix it for next year so that they can request that all three be the same for the whole,
They all be paid the same.
so.
Again, for one.
Okay. That was the end of our additional appropriations. Does anyone have any new business? None? All right, is there any
I
public?
do.
Yep, okay.
Sorry. With the current, economics, and that's crazy it is, I'm just curious, looking forward, as far as next year's budget, what type of budget instructions are we giving each of the departments? I mean, how are they gonna budget for gas and inflation and wages? Are we giving them some instructions or guidelines to budget by, or we're just gonna let everybody do something different, or are we gonna at least be consistent on what we're gonna do? I mean, that's what I always received when I did budgets, some type of, forecasting tool, so to speak. How are we gonna move
State
forward?
releases an annual growth quotient that tells us what our increase in property tax we're allowed is a percentage of the max levy. So there's a thing called max levy, and every year the state goes in and punches numbers and says, here's how much of that can go up next year. Now, if it says, last year it was at 4.2%, I expect that'll be higher this year because of the economy. But at the same time, you have to recall, first of all, if you increase it, that means you're going to tax people more, number one. And number two, that does not necessarily, that's not all our revenue.
Right.
So, but when we see that number, we'd be able to give you a better sense.
So the state has not given us that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I haven't seen it.
So my question is, how are they preparing? I know they're starting preparing budgets back, you know.
Same way we always do, it's like feeling around in your house in the dark. Just
Okay.
kind of
You try to get the best
halfway know where
estimates they
stuff
can
is.
based on their current.
Okay.
And, I mean, sometimes they budget in a little extra or so for gas if we know it's going up. I mean, obviously, it'll probably be higher than last year's budget number.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, it's their best guess, and then when it comes down to budget time and we actually get from the state what the numbers are, we have a better idea if that's going to be able to do it or
They'll
not.
also give us projections on our anticipated local income tax distributions.
Mhm.
The state will do all that stuff
For us.
in the next 4 to 6 weeks. We will get all sorts of information. We'll get gas tax, projected gas tax.
It was like August, I think, last year, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the summer.
Yeah, maybe beginning of September before we
So we will know everything by the time you have your budget hearing. We'll know a lot of stuff by the time you have your budget hearings, but unfortunately, we don't, a lot of that information comes from the state, we just don't know it yet.
Okay. Well, I assumed a lot of that, but I wanted to make sure I ask it now, so that way.
And then part of it is that the other part of the department heads is knowing things like, oh, we're gonna need to replace X next year, so I need to make sure that's in the budget. And so those are the kind of things, or if they, as our 911 folks are saying, we wanna try and hire 2 new people next year, so, we may be off a little bit on what those costs might be, but if they can at least put those things in there and,
Well, I mean, if we want to try to keep taxes, I'll just say flat, how are we going to do it?
Well, the other reason that, the
'Cause,
other
I
thing we
mean-
don't know is what the assessed value is for the county.
Mhm.
So,
We've actually lowered the tax rate the last 2 years for the county.
Right.
So, I mean, that's always the goal, but.
and I haven't seen we haven't got certified net AV yet, have we now? So, there's all these pieces of the equation that we are starting to see, but we haven't got them all yet.
I'm going to say, because we as taxpayers, there's only so much we can handle.
I think the
Especially
assess-
those.
I think the assessments are up this year.
Yeah.
I think they will be
Oh,
way
yeah.
up.
That has been the trend over the last few years, but,
And that's statewide.
but it's statewide too, so.
Yeah.
And we can't do anything about it right now.
You can, no.
No,
We
we
can
can.
vote, but even then, in theory, it shouldn't matter, so.
Okay. Is there any public comment this evening? No? Anything else, gentlemen? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion made? Oh, sorry, by Bill.
Oh,
I
in a
would
second.
make that motion too.
All right. Motion in a second? All right. We'll give Bill the motion and Rick the second. All right. Thank you, everyone, for attending the meeting this evening.
Gentlemen,